Hello and welcome in to a very interesting edition of the Big O Show featuring Orestes Destrade. What's up, my brother?
Hey, it's Freaky Friday. There's no doubt about it. It's freaking Friday. A lot of things going on. We've got, we do have an echo.
Yeah, we do have an echo.
We do have an echo.
Now we're good.
There we go.
Now we're good.
That's different. Yeah. So
We're doing a little different thing here on the O Show today.
Yeah.
A little different look.
Just set up for you. So you can hear both our beautiful faces.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I'm happy for our local kid and definitely the dad, Dante Bichette, signing for a big deal. Just fresh news right now. The Mets picked up Bo Bichette for $126 million.
$126 million.
Another local kid in obviously, Tucker and Kyle Tucker signs for a hellacious amount. I'll talk about that in a minute. But obviously, leading news here for the Tampa Bay area. A trade that is not the splash trade that we were thinking about that was going to be made, or the splash signing. Josh Lowe, all-star a couple of years ago, much injured the last couple of seasons, but a guy that I think is definitely, when healthy, a 25-25 guy, dare I say a 30-30 type player, 5-tool player. Josh Lowe, right fielder, traded in a three-way deal with the Cincinnati Reds and the Los Angeles Angels. Mainly the Rays get Gavin Lux back. They get They get Gavin Lux, and they get a kid by the name of Chris Clark, minor league pitcher, no muy bueno. And then in the mix, the Angels, trade for Josh Lowe. And Cincinnati gets a really good middle reliever in Burke. Don't get this completely right off the bat, JP.
Head scratcher.
It's a head scratcher. If you're talking money, let's just go straight to the money. Gavin Lux is going to make more money, almost twice as much, if not twice as much. He's in the fives. That
makes zero sense.
So he just, avoided arbitration with Cincinnati Reds, had a nice year, a 260 hitter, gets on base, scores a few runs, plays really good second base, can play short, second, third. You can mix it in the outfield. Yeah. Left-handed hitter, no pop. It's a little bit weird because, you gave up pop. You gave up a lot of potential. You gave up possibly an all-star if healthy. That's what Josh Lowe can give you. No doubt has struggled the last 2 years, especially this year. Once he came back from the same injury, the right oblique that hampered him in 24, you were expecting him to be back on point. He wasn't. I think that, unfortunately, when you get hurt early in the season like that, it throws you completely off because you almost have to reboot again and go back into spring training mode, and then it just throws you. It's better to get hurt while you're already in mid-stride in the middle of the season. You miss a month, you come back, you go back into stride. Think of Bo Bichette as an example on that. So giving up on Josh Lowe, surprising. He just agreed to avoid arbitration at $2.6 million. Gavin Lux is in the fives. Mathematically, numbers-wise, money-wise, doesn't make sense for a team that's trying to be, money conscious. I will say this, JP, before I hear your comments. You don't know all the trimmings and all the goings-on behind the scenes throughout this offseason in the Hot Stove League. What exactly – who I think is one of the premier GMs in Eric Neander has looked at, called upon, still looking at. You just don't know all the dynamics of potential deals that he's been trying to create. Again, under a nucleus of an amount of money that he has to work with, right? So he doesn't have that Brandon Gomes, GM of the Dodgers amount of money. So, but still, that being said, this one's a head scratcher because if I'm them, and maybe he did propose this, and the Angels want, a potential, all-star outfielder, You give me your outfielder. Get Cincinnati out of the mix, get Gavin Lux out of the mix, get Chris Clark out of the mix, and just hey, how about we negotiate for Joe Adell? We want a right-handed hitting power outfielder. You like our boy. He's been struggling the last couple of years, so we'll add a quality middle reliever, or we'll add a quality AA or AAA pitcher, and you need pitching. So we'll give you 2 guys for Joe Adell. How about that? Maybe it was proposed, maybe it was shut down, and then this deal came about. Kind of still a head scratcher.
I don't get it. You added payroll. You gave away a guy who's a potential 25, 30 home run guy in Josh Lowe.
Right.
Listen, I've not been a huge fan of his, just he's injured all the time, but I do recognize his potential.
Correct.
He's a hell of a player when he's healthy. And we saw, we didn't see a whole lot of it last year, but obviously 23 was a breakout season for him.
Yeah.
And these oblique injuries have hurt him. But if you're going to give up a guy like that, then you got to get something in return that has great potential. Even though I know Lux was the top Dodger prospect for some time.
Yes, he was.
He's gotten we got a sample size in the major leagues now, and he's a 260, 270 hitter.
Right.
To just as you described him, and that's not we got a guy in Chandler Simpson who can play second base. He's a 300 hitter and gets on base and is speedy and can play that situation. Richie Palacios is a guy that can give you more pop and play the position. To me, it wasn't really an area of need. And you're giving up a guy who could be a huge potential star in this league. And is he going to be a consistent power? I doubt it. We would have seen it by now, I think. But again, if he does gets healthy and maybe going with a different organization and a different physio group, he does get healthy. Maybe getting, not playing in the Trop.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, maybe
group.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I don't. I mean, it's good for him, but for the Rays, I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I don't get it at all.
I think he was worthy of giving him at the price that he's at, per the quid pro quo, the potential that he could reach. I mean, literally, this guy could be. And
you had 2 more years of control.
And you have 2 more years of control. He struggles this year. He gets re-injured. Now you start, maybe they might be thinking, well, he's devalued now as far as trade bait.
But that's all you could get for Josh Lowe.
That's all you can get for him right now.
Was an average second baseman and a scrub single A pitcher.
For that, exactly. That's what I'm talking about, the quid pro quo. For that, I would have rather, for 2.6, comfortable amount for a starting Major League Baseball player, outfielder, corner outfielder.
Bargain.
Take a chance that he is 100% and gives you 25, 30, gives you 270, hits in that, that 6-7 hole, maybe even a 5 hole, and is protecting your other hitters. He has that potential. I don't understand. Now, that being said, you did bring in Melton. There's some high upside potentially with that kid. So I think what ended up happening, possibly, JP, is that they're looking at their outfield and they were feeling like, well, we've got potentially 3 Josh Lowes, right? We've got Jake Fraley. If given enough at bats, Jake Fraley could hit 20, 25 home runs. He's got that potential.
So give him Jake Fraley.
You've got Melton that you just picked up, and you got Josh Lowe.
Yeah.
So we've had Lowe. He's been injured. We're not sure. Maybe something came back. I don't know. Came back physiology wise, but obviously the deal's not going to go through if he doesn't pass the physical for the Angels. So he has to be healthy enough to pass this deal through. Don't get it. What's left for the Rays? Yeah, now you're giving a whole lot more at bats to Fraley. You're giving a whole lot more at bats to Melton. Obviously you're expecting to give a crap load of at bats to Cedric Mullins. It just felt like that wasn't the guy to trade. It felt like that, and that wasn't the way to fill the potential quote unquote gap at second base, which is glaring. Don't know if that's the filler. If you're telling me that's the filler, that it's Gavin Lux at second or a platoon of Gavin Lux and Richie Palacio, who, hits right-handed, and Gavin Lux hits left-handed. And then your shortstop, conceivably, if you're going to keep the kid Williams down in AAA, is Taylor Walls. It's a light hitting.
Where's the power? We've gone from 31 home runs at second base.
Right. Potential
25 in right field,
right,
to a whole lot of nothing.
Well, again,
a whole lot of light hitting.
17 home runs last year with Fraley. He's still young enough and strong enough, so we don't know. Potential 25 to 30 with a Cedric Mullins. We don't know because it sure wasn't there last year.
Nope.
So it's just a lot of a potential, a lot of like what ifs when you kind of, knew that a healthy Josh Lowe is going to give you, some potential all-star. I don't know that about Melton. I don't know that. Like, if you gave me those three guys and I had to pick all three of them are fully 100% healthy, I'm picking Josh Lowe. It's that simple.
And last year, Lux had 446 at-bats. So a full season.
Yeah.
He had a negative .2 WAR.
Yeah, WAR is
negative.
Not my favorite stat, but
OPS.
More importantly is run scored. Okay. So he
49 runs.
49 runs in how many games? 140 something games he played in.
Yeah.
That's abysmal.
Yeah.
That's not good. You got to be at least at a 50%, half a run for that, middle infielder speedy guy. I want half a run per game. So that should be
one
around
stolen
75.
base.
One stolen base. He had like a 3 something, on
350 on base percentage.
On base percentage, obviously a low slugging.
He's just mid.
He's just mid. He's mid. He's been around. He's played with big boy team like the Dodgers, and then obviously mid-market team like Cincinnati. He was nice, but nothing out of this world. It's hard to understand the reasoning of the trade right now. Is there something looming around the backside? Oh, by the way, again, not only is he making more money, Jake Fraley's making more money. I believe they signed Fraley for 3.3 or 3.1.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually making more money than Josh Lowe. So this wasn't a money deal, right? I would have then instead traded Jake Fraley to the Angels. So not really understand. There's got to be something that we're missing, something internally that they were feeling about Josh Lowe, that they just felt like, okay, this isn't our guy.
Oblique's just never going to get better.
That or some other personality type situation where this is not our guy moving forward.
And by the way, the pitcher that's added in is just
abysmal.
You looked him up.
Terrible. 7-24 in the minor leagues with a 5.25 ERA, 110 walks. He does have 277 strikeouts in about 269 innings, 207 innings. Just listen. I think the world, of Kyle Snyder and the great pitching coach that he is, but he would be the world's greatest pitching coach if he takes that kid to some sort of stardom at the major league level. So that was just an add-on pick, and yeah, it is what it is. Probably a power arm. Don't know him, but it sounds like by the fact that he had 277 strikeouts in the minor leagues in 269 innings, so more than a strikeout an inning. But 7-24 in the minors is no bueno.
It's a no bueno.
So yeah.
So the Rays,
including 4-10 last year.
So we're going to go along the assumption that Neander is not done.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that.
I would hate to take this lineup and this team into the AL East this year.
I mean, to be honest with you, the catching situation still is up in the air.
Yeah,
you've got
nothing great there.
Nothing there. You added the kid who's not really on your roster. On your 40-man from Boston. So yeah, I mean, it's nothing assured. So maybe the JT, Jonah Heim, a couple other free agent catchers that are still out there, some veteran guys that you can bring in for a year or two, kind of like how you experimented with Danny Jansen last year. I don't think JT Realmuto would be an experiment. You just bring him in for a couple of years and you'd have a veteran, steady guy. That's my guy. You do that, at least you solidify a very important part of your defense, pitching staff, and an offensive guy that could still surprise you and pop 15, 20 homers. So then you've added right-handed pop, in the lineup. So that's why I think that one, if you're going to spend some money, that will be the place. Other than that, I don't see. I mean, now we can get into the big deal of today, yesterday.
Well, I'm going to just
because it ties into possibly a guy with the Dodgers that maybe might come in. But go ahead and put this in a.
Well, this kind of goes in hand with some other information that we got yesterday. Ken Babby came out and did a podcast,
yes,
kind of a business podcast thing.
Interesting comments.
Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. And I think a lot of people saw it, or some people saw it as, oh, here we go. They're already complaining about not having money and blah, and how hard it's going to be. And I didn't take it that way at all. When I listened to it, I thought it was a very honest assessment of what the Rays are up against right now, and a group that is going to attack it unmercifully. And they're going to get after it, and they're going to solve all these problems because they purchased an asset that I believe, and Ken Babby has said this, has the most growth potential in the major leagues. And I agree that because we've done everything wrong historically in terms of running this team, bad stadium, bad location, bad owners, been a lot of that. So there's such a room for growth here. And that's the way they look at this asset. It is underperformed dramatically. And I agree with that. And we're going to step into our big boy pants in a big boy market and do it a big boy way. Right. With a $5, $6, $7 billion multi-use build out that includes a stadium, but it's essentially a real estate deal that fuels the baseball team. Exactly what the Braves did. Right. And so now they take over a team. They've got to figure out where they're going to play. We know where that is. It's going to be HCC. That'll become finalized next week. Now you got to go get the money. This is going to be the hard part where you got to go put the financial deal together with the city and the county. Not insurmountable. I think it gets done, but it's not easy. You've also got to rebuild your entire television network. That's something else that they're facing right now with FanDuel going under. Now you got to go figure out how you're going to build this network around the state like the Lightning did with all these local stations and find out, MLB streaming and where all this is going. Used to be able to have, these RSNs gave you $80 million a year. You had nothing, we had Big O on the pregame show. Everybody's making money. Yeah. It plug and play.
Yeah, plug and play.
Now they got to redo this whole thing. And you have the strike looming as well. 100%. Strike, lockout, like major financial changes going on. Yes. So, and not that they're sitting here saying, oh, woe is me, we're not going to spend money on players. No, it's like, okay, we accept this. We know what it is, and it's a great opportunity. But we've got to give them some time to breathe. Right. They've been here 4 months. And if you're expecting, this full all-in on the field product, that's not sensical. I mean, even for the Baltimore billionaire who came in, it took him a year to find his footing. And then they went out and started spending money, and that's the right way to do it. Yeah, that's a great test right there. The Baltimore one would be a good comparison. But beyond the Baltimore scenario, and I think was his comments, you could take them one or two ways. And I think you and I are taking them the right way, which is, we're challenged, but, we're up for the challenge. Right. And we have the weapons to do this right. Now, things have to fit in. So the comment was glaring, and the comment was, hey, and this is quote unquote from Ken Babby. In North America, at least in my eyes, there's not a professional sports team that is in more crisis and has more headwinds than the Tampa Bay Rays. So you read that and you go, oh, he's just complaining and they're in crisis. No, that just means that he got they took on openly, transparently a job that has to be done. But they didn't take it on without having the options already potentially in place. Now they have to figure those things and get it done. HCC around the corner from being, announced and started. Some other type, making the games much more entertaining, affordable, exciting, being in the community as this year progresses, making the Rays great again, if you will. And then there'll be the times when, because of the revenue starts coming in down the road, you sign big boy players, you extend current players, and those things all fall into place. But did they walk into a crisis? Of course. Yeah. How could you not look at it that way? Yeah. They didn't have a stadium. Yeah. The owner wasn't, it was spending much money. They haven't won in the last 2 years as far as making the playoffs. Sure, you're going into taking on, this is like a surgeon going into surgery, and the person has a real serious heart issue. Yeah. But you're the one that knows how to wield the scalpel. But you also know that person on the table is a 5-time All-Star.
Yeah.
I mean, you have an opportunity to turn this into something tremendous.
Right.
And that's where they see the opportunity and the growth.
Yeah.
And they don't see it as a bad situation. They see it as a great opportunity.
Yeah, to turn things.
Yeah, and I think I think you got to listen to the whole podcast to kind of get a feeling for what he's saying is here. It's like, yeah, it's a great challenge. That's
that's it.
That's why it's one of the lower valued franchises in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one thing you see with a lot of these teams, and you see it all. If you go back to the history of certain franchises, people buy them. I mean, the Bucks are a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Bucks were purchased for $200 million or $190 million
when they were in the dumps, and not a great
and everybody said the Glazers overpaid for them.
Right.
Well, look at them now.
Yeah.
2 Super Bowls later,
this team
they're worth $6 billion,
if not more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And why did they get it so low? Because it was a dumpster fire.
If Washington went for 6B just recently,
right?
They're 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can look at it a lot of different ways, but smart businessmen buy things that are distressed.
Correct.
And then they have the confidence, and you listen to these guys talk, especially Ken, and he's going to get the job done.
Yes.
They're going to get the job done. But this is a point where, as a fan base, and everybody's like, well, it's just like Stu. Well, Stu had 20 years to prove to you what that was going to be.
Exactly.
And now let's give these guys a few years before we start declaring them Stu Sternberg.
Well, listen, holy cow, few years, if they announce the place that the legacy forever home is going to be and the plan thereof within the next few weeks.
Well, we got the location.
Right.
Now,
once that gets solidified, 20 years of Stu, that never happened.
No.
So in months that these guys are in ownership,
6-7 months,
they landed that.
Within 6-7 months, we're going to have we already got the location. Yeah. They figured that out, which I guess Stu did do that with a couple of the deals. Now you got to get the money done.
He did he? He never, ACC never became to fruition.
No. Well, they said they had the Ebor thing. They identified it. And there was a deal.
Bunch of identifications
but
all over the place.
Nothing.
No
shovels got turned.
We're talking that this could get done within 26 of a shovel in the ground, possibly.
Right. Yeah.
That is
from where we were,
from what the 20 years were, of futility and close and this, and we have the location and we have this could move exponentially fast. If that happens, that's the signing of Juan Soto. That's the free agent signing. And fandom has to look at it that way. We have to crawl and then stand up and then run.
And I said one more thing earlier that I'll repeat it here. And this is, to the ownership. And I know they watch our shows. I would, Ken's going out and doing selective interviews, and I get it. But at this point, I think we need to hear from the owners in terms of what the plan is on the field.
Yeah.
Because I think if they came out and said, hey, listen, we've got all these aforementioned issues that we're dealing with, especially the biggest one is the labor situation.
Yeah.
And that what happens there is those normal revenue streams that you count on when you're doing planning and building huge build outs, you input these revenue streams. Well, those are going to be interrupted. And we don't know for how long.
Correct.
So this group has to put that into the mix. They just came out and said, listen, we're dealing with a lot of stuff, but we're going to get it done. And we're probably going to spend a couple years developing free agent or developing young players.
Sure.
And we're not going to go out into the market right now, but when we get that stadium built, that's when we're going to go.
Yeah.
And the revenue starts coming in and the labor piece is done. I think if they did that, the fan base would be cool.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. We're on board with this. We'll watch these young players develop as long as we have the assurance from this new group that you're going to, when the time is right, we're going to invest in big time players. And it's interesting to note as we segue to Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette, local products. Kyle Tucker has outs in the second and third year of his deal with the Dodgers.
Deal, right?
A 4-year deal.
Yeah. He's got outs,
which is something the Dodgers and Andrew Friedman never do.
Notoriously don't
they
do.
Don't
so
do
it. Interesting that his group, asked for that. Obviously,
and Bichette signed a 3-year deal.
And Bichette signed a 3-year deal. So that kind of.
And we thought those would both be 6-year deals.
Just wishfully thinking, or wishfully, hypotheticals.
Yeah,
here,
total hypotheticals.
Because they're not going to be cheap, but there is going to be a lot of money, already planned out once you play ball, whether it's in 29 or 30. And by the way, about spending money, just yesterday, today is the 16th. Yeah, yesterday was the big signing day, was the big, kind of NIL signing day, if you will, for youngsters all over the globe, but particularly in Dominican Republic, where 65% of the international signings take place. And, oh, by the way, the Rays dropped $3.5 million on Victor Valdez. Remember that name? 16-year-old, 6'1" shortstop, lanky. They say the kid has got super hands, great hands at the plate. They're taking their swings up at the bat again on an exciting shortstop from the Dominican Republic. We know what happened with the last one that they gave $3.6 million to. Let's leave that one alone. Let's
keep an eye on this kid.
But listen, Victor Valdez is. I was just in Dominica not too long ago and heard. I didn't get a chance to see him actually play. Saw some video, but heard incredible things. So it's not like the organization's not doing anything and not spending millions of dollars in international and building, but it's kind of tags to what you're saying. There's a rollout, scenario that, however you want to look at it, kind of starts people going, well, it does seem kind of similar to what was going on before.
No,
it's not. It's not. Some of the inner workings of the organizational player operations have to and are kind of in the same realm and the same continuance of, sign here, trade here, don't sign here, don't trade here. But the big picture, we both believe is such a night and day as to what they're moving forward for the bigger long term, for the legacy, for the forever home, for the forever fan, which is not that far down the road. We're talking a few years. And anything in life, as you well know, it's worth. Some things are worth the wait.
And I think if the owners came out, they're going to Fan Fest in a couple weeks.
Yeah, the 14th.
I think it would be a great time for them to kind of hold a press conference and maybe even do it in a public forum there, Q&A with and just say, hey, and lay it out and say, listen, we're gonna. This is not going to be the year of big free agent spending, but we're going to build this slowly. And when we get to we're going to get the stadium deal done. And when we move into this stadium in 29, we're going to be ready with a team that is, and not only ready to compete right then, but has a long runway ahead of it where the revenues are going to be made in this entire entertainment mixed use situation, just like the Braves did. And they went to $250 million payroll. That's what the Braves did.
And I think that's an important message. You know why? Because it was never even close to personified by Stu Sternberg. In fact, it was quite the opposite. The message was always,
next year,
not next year. Woe is us. Look at what happened. We didn't have any fans, and if we could only get a stadium, it was only like if we could only get a stadium. Because of the money that he knew, or less money that he wanted to put into the stadium. So these guys kind of have come out and have said that, but you're right. It'd be nice as the season is looming and spring training is, I believe, February 12th, pitchers and catchers report. That message is strong. I referenced in your show when I popped in at the end, I think it's Bichette for the
Ravens owner,
the Baltimore Ravens owner. Coming out, the guy doesn't talk that often. It's very rare. Every few years, he'll, when something major happens, he had to. John Harbaugh was fired. I mean, that was his guy from 18 years. But the fact that he kind of made certain statements of positivity and say, "Hey, I'm the guy. We're going to do this. Those things ring so true in a community.
Well, and especially now that you're going to a political situation there where you're going to be asking for a lot of public money, and you don't need the fan base and the public out there going, these guys are just like Stu.
Not at all.
They're cutting payroll. They got rid of all of the good players. It's just the same old shit all over again.
Right.
And I get fans saying that because that's what it looks like right now. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's fair. And that's why I think transparency is good here. If they come out and say, hey, listen, we're in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
And this is the plan. We're going to load up on prospects right now, find out what we got, see what our costs are going to be, see what stadium looks like. And then in 3 years, we're moving into a new stadium. We got money to spend. And oh, by the way, some of our local superstars, Dante Bichette and Kyle Tucker, will have some opt-outs if they want to come back and play in a new stadium in their hometown, not too far from where they live. I know they're not going to say that, but they can say that, but we're going to spend money when it gets to that time. And so come along with us. It's, let's cheer on these young kids while they find their way in the major leagues. And I think everybody's on board with that.
Everybody's on board with that.
Yeah, everybody gets that.
And still find a way, which they seemingly do. And if they haven't, had, tremendously ugly seasons the last 2 years. They've been right there into the last few weeks to make the playoffs. But they've
competitive.
They've always been competitive. So what you're looking for is to get that step up and get into 91, 92 wins and make the playoffs and scare some people. Are they a frontline team in this power-driven, incredible AL East? No, not right now. Not on paper. There's no doubt. Baltimore has made bigger moves. But Baltimore, as we've said already in the show the last couple of weeks, went through a phase with the new ownership of a year and a half, almost 2 years, that now they're coming out of it and they're like making all these deals, signing big boy players. There's Pete Alonso for $155 million for 5 years. Are you kidding me? I mean, there was a concerted timeline to that. So feel, strongly that there is a timeline. Now, this trade, closing the door on this thing for right now, it's a weird one, but,
hopefully there's more to come.
There's more to come, but I will say that, they're putting some money not only on some of these young kids in the Dominican Republic where so much talent comes from. You have to be all in on that if you're going to be in a major league team, but also they're all in on the edifice and the multiple buildings over there and the build out of
$30 million,
$30 million plus.
Yeah, we showed it to you last
week.
An
incredible, brand new home of the Academy of the Tampa Bay Rays. That thing is going to bear a lot of fruit because it's going to attract.
It's all forward thinking.
It's all
future thinking. This team, this team at 2028, 2029, when you're going into the stadium, things all line up.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to be. But I think they need to be transparent in that message.
Yeah, where they're heading with their deals.
Alejandro Noriega says stadium first, then sign free agents and extensions. Junior will get an extension.
Exactly.
Carson, if he does well, Aranda something and much more. The new ownership actually seems to care about us, the fans. Yeah, so it's basically this. We're moving on from Josh Lowe, from Brandon Lau. We're moving on from these guys to the next generation of young players. We're going to give them opportunities to come up and start finding their way in the major leagues. And then when we get to 28 and 29, we can go get the big boppers, and then we're ready to go. And we've got a great farm system.
Power arms.
Right.
There's a couple coming out of Japan in the next couple 3 years that are really talented arms. My team has a young kid that probably be posted in 3 or 4 years. So, you're prepared for all that. Speaking of signings, holy geez. That Dodgers signing of Kyle
Tucker, 4 years, $240 million, $60 million a year.
Here's the best way of me to describe Kyle Tucker's signing for the Tucker family. They just recently finished their minutes from us here, a $9 million home. And I have a feeling that the wife this morning called the builder and said, excuse me, John, how quick can we buy the house next door and do an addition of
they got a big enough
4,000 square foot, just a little add-on. We want like an in-laws add-on on our, because dude, that was not, I'm telling you right now, here's what they expected. Hundreds of millions of dollars but over probably a 7 or 8 year deal. Like what I was more thinking that where potentially the Jays, who were so hot and heavy on this guy, and they took him to Dunedin a couple of times. They had Zooms with him. They're thinking, you live here in South Tampa, and our spring training is right up the road, and we're going to give you 8 years, $35 million a year. I mean, that's a serious package, right? You're with opt-outs and whatnot. And then the Mets come in, oh, by the way, and they kind of double down and say, we're going to give them 3 years at 150. You know what? We'll give them 4 years at 200. I think they were thinking the $400 million contract. I'm talking about the Tucker family.
Yeah.
For 7, 8 years. I don't think they were thinking 240 for 4 years. It's $64 million signing bonus.
Yeah. That should take care of the lot on Palmacia.
I think that took care of the. I think it's going to add something else in the country club. I think the country club's calling on them and going, hey,
it could pay my fees. For the next
can you
years.
pay the fees
fun.
for a couple of guys? Yeah. There's a guy named JP Peterson who's been a little late. He's been a little behind on the fees. Dude, that surprised me. I'm going to tell you why it surprised me, because he basically average per year jumps to the number 1 average per year in the major leagues. He's going to be at 57 and change. He surpasses
Ohtani.
Beyond that. He surpasses Ohtani, who's third. He surpasses Juan Soto.
Oh, that's right. Juan Soto.
Juan Soto's in the 50s, right? Juan Soto's package is 700 and some odd, but per year, it's in the 50s, right? It builds up. Unbelievable, because in my estimation, he's 5, maybe 6. I'm going to give him 5th place as to the top 5 players in everyday players in the major leagues. He's number 5, not number 1, not number 2, not number 3. Number 1 is a guy by the name of Shohei Ohtani. Number 2 is a guy by the name of Aaron Judge. Number 3 for me is Cal Raleigh right now, and what he's done, not just last year.
Yeah.
Let's not forget what he did the year before. Yeah. Cal Raleigh's not some new guy.
Flash in the pan.
Yeah, he's got 100 home runs in the last 2 years and a plethora of RBIs and a premier
hell of a catcher.
Yeah. Right. And then number 4 is the great Juan Soto, because you can't knock Juan Soto, and knock his what the year he had last year in the 40s, home runs, on base percentage is ungodly, scores runs. If there's any little bit of knock, is his defense is a little slim shady, but it's not terrible.
Yeah.
Number 5 falls in with Kyle Tucker. Holy cow, that's a contract, bro.
But it's not, he could have gone for longer term and guaranteed
longer
money.
Term,
so he's got something else in mind.
Less ABA.
He's got something else in mind. That's all I'm saying.
There's something interesting there. Mm-hmm. There's something interesting.
And we know he wants to play here. And we know he wants to play.
Built a $10 million house. Of course he might want
it's not built yet,
here.
But
yeah,
well, now that he's got the money.
Yeah, now he's going to add to it.
I'll be paying cash.
Yeah, I think. Was there a problem there? Yeah,
I'll be paying cash.
I'd like the 9th hole.
By the way,
JT, I'd like the 9th hole to myself.
Your JT Real Muto dreams have gone up in smoke as well.
Where did
he signs 3 years, $45 million with
the
Phillies. Going back.
He's going back to the Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
And the Phillies are smart for doing that, because when they look at it and when you see it, this guy's still a quality catcher who had a little bit of an off year offensively, but not dramatically. And he's just a veteran. And the Phillies looked at it and go, wait a second. This is our best opportunity with our staff to reach the playoffs and go to get a chip. I'm not surprised. And I thought he'd be somewhere around, kudos to him, because I honestly, the Phillies probably were one of the few teams that would probably give him that 3rd year.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the rumor talks, for him were 2 for 30, 2 for 28, in that realm. So he's able to land a 3rd year because the Phillies love him and want him back in the fold. Good for Jay. By the way, I know him. He's a wonderful human being and a gamer, bro. So yeah, the Rays weren't going to be in that bid at 3 for 45. I was hoping that if early on and somehow 2 for 24, 2 for 25. But at
his age, to get 3 years, pretty good.
3 years,
yeah, it's pretty good. By the way, Rick says Bichette to the Mets. Another rhyme for Big O.
Yeah. Listen, Bichette to
3
the
years, $126 million.
Kudos to him.
Bichette, who's also got outs.
Yeah.
In year 2 or in the third year, I believe.
Well, the third year would be his out, but it would have to be after year 2.
Yeah, after year 2. Yeah, after year 2 for the third year.
So, great deal for him. I'm more
2 opt-outs. Yeah,
I'm more surprised that Bo couldn't land a longer term deal unless that's what he wants. You know, he could just be going, I'm gonna take a shitload of money and I'm gonna, play the roulette table that I'm gonna have great years for 3 years, maybe even 1 or 2, and a superstar year, MVP year. Is he capable of winning MVP? Yes.
You guys seem to think
is that good.
They seem to think that there's this new labor agreement's going to favor them, so they can make even more money.
Yeah,
it seems like it.
Yeah. So they're going shorter. And listen, I think that he's another one that would probably love you. What the other big surprise in that deal? Just to say real quick, very surprised that the Jays, on the heels of losing Tucker because they were so hot after Tucker, so were the Mets. Losing that to lose to the Mets on Bo Bichette, I'm very, very surprised by that. Yeah. I would think that they would kind of almost do a JT Realmuto in the Phillies and go like, hey, come back home. What do you need? What do you want? 3 for 126. Is that what they're offering you? We'll give you that. I'm a bit surprised by that. So then that leaves a guy by the name of Cody Bellinger, who I'm a huge fan of. And I just think he's a 5-tool player galore. And I'm a Rays fan, but I'm also, as a kid, a Yankee fan. I think he belongs in Yankee Stadium. So we'll see if the Yankees step up, because he's going to be a wanted man now.
And real quick, Teoscar Hernandez seems to be the odd man out in L.A. Interesting that they gave him a $23 million signing bonus
on a $66 million deal.
Yeah.
For what, 3 years?
Yeah. So he's been paid about $40 million
of that contract.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting deal and again, there is a strong tie, and many trades have gone with Andrew Friedman and our guy that I love, and Brandon Gomes.
But if they were able to get Teoscar and put him in, that's the big right-handed bat, put him in the middle of the Rays lineup.
Maybe that's somewhere where the Josh Lowe thing came in. Is like, we're going to unload Josh, and maybe like, again, we're not in the war rooms of these deals and what is being bandied about. But Teoscar would be phenomenal. I think he would be
a really good fit
if you got him for 2 years at around $20 million. Maybe the Dodgers eat some of that.
I don't know him as a dude, but
I know him as a run producer.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that one.
Would he be a good mentor?
I think he would. I don't think I've heard anything negative. The only thing that happens at times is his outfield play can get a little lackadaisical. He just unfocuses, and he doesn't, run after a ball, and he's not, in every play. But that's not always. I mean, there's time. He's got a hell of a rocket of an arm, so he could easily man right field. And when he wants to play defense, he's solid. So, but on
33 years old,
but at the plate, bro, he's another Yandy Diaz with not as good as average hitter, because he won't go to right as much as Yandy does, but he's basically Yandy Diaz personified as far as a run producer and a guy that can give you 25 and arguably 90 RBIs. Holy cow. And gives you that veteran leadership as you usher in. So you keep him for a couple of years. That's what I've been looking for. I've been looking for that bat that protects, that adds to Yandy, protects Junior. Adds to Yandy, protects Junior.
So key.
And then you
changes everything.
And then you have, Jonathan Aranda. You've got Cedric Mullen somewhere in the mix there. You've got some speed with Simpson. Then I'm okay with that.
That's a lineup that can do some damage.
Can scare you with the potential starting pitching that they have.
Yeah,
and a really good bullpen. I don't think people realize that the bullpen is coming together, and I think Uceda's ready to take charge and become, a frontline closer. So, Teoscar, let's hope, man, that deal could be had if the Dodgers eat some of that money and get a trade that they like.
All right, big thanks to our great sponsors, Texas Roadhouse, Wesley Chapel, our great friends over there.
Yeah, Highway 56 right there on your way into Wiregrass Mall, in between that and the
outlets over there.
Outlets over there. So come on by. Tyler Hamilton will greet you himself many times.
Great place to watch games too. They have a bar set up there. You can go in and have a great meal, watch the football this weekend.
Comfort food at a comfortable price. Yeah, games this weekend. Obviously Monday night, my Canes are out there, and they want to make a fan out of you. So there's going to be a lot of exciting, and that's a great place to do that. Such great service. So we appreciate them immensely.
Texas Roadhouse, Wesley Chapel. Go get your steak and watch the games over there. Also, Genesis of Tampa, the Murphy Auto Group. They're giving away a gas card for a year. That's $2,500 value. If you just go in there, take a test drive, you can 10x your entries into that. They got great deals going on now with the best cars on the road, in my opinion. The SUV, the GV70, GV80, the coupes, the sedans.
GV80 is
incredible luxury technology at a great price, great value, and they're doing great deals over Genesis of Tampa. So great
and
that
great service.
They're pissing off all the other Genesis dealers.
Oh, they hate them already. We know I'm happy.
That's how you get a good deal. What's going on. Thank you guys for watching.
Kingmakers too, we love.
Yep, Kingmakers Tampa. Have a great weekend.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully we'll be able to make sense of this in the coming days. I don't know.
Regardless, always go Rays. Stay tranquil and tropical.
Absolutely.